I had to pick somebody that he resembled, it would be John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. John was a music and dance king. He was always the first one on a dance floor, sort of opening the dance floor, and always the last one off the dance floor.
That he always treated everybody with dignity, no matter if they were a star or if they weren't a star. And I think that was very important.
My name is Leonella DeCatch, but people call me Leo. Here at the memorial, I am a visitor service supervisor. So on 9/11, I was actually in middle school. The one thing that I will never forget about that day is when you would hear over the loudspeaker name after name of a child being called to the office. Right when my class was about to go get their lunch, me getting my nice spicy chicken nuggets, they called my name and they took me to the office. My mom and my dad, they were both looked so worried that day. I wasn't sure what was happening. They took me home and they told me everything that happened. Because they are Hispanic, they put on Univision, Channel 41, and we just saw everything happening in the newscast about that day.
My name is Jim Brady. I work at the memorial as a volunteer. At the time I worked in New Jersey for United Parcel Service, so I was in the World Trade Center that morning. When the event happened, I was already in New Jersey. But since I lived nearby, I couldn't come back. But it was a beautiful day and I had my windows open. So the dust cloud, I had a lot of damage in my apartment from that. And I stayed at a relative's house for several weeks.
That same day, my mom was supposed to be in Windows of the World. She actually had a date with her best friend. Her friend was like, I want to go to visit my daughter at Windows in the World. They recently had a fight, so they were going to make up that day. And my mom's like, yeah, sure, I'll go with you. I'll be, your support. Then that morning, her friend calls her over the phone. She's like, Martha, the car won't turn on. And my mom's like, well, that's weird. Well, it's okay, no biggie for me. Take it to get it fixed, and then we'll meet up on another day. Unfortunately, her daughter did not make it, and her friend, since that day, has never come back to New York City. Yes, yeah, I know. It always brings me a tear. Tear down. Yeah.
I work one day a week at the memorial as a volunteer to help direct visitors to the appropriate corrals to enter the museum, respond to questions from the visitors about the museum itself and about the neighborhood. Shortly after I retired, I was looking for a volunteer job, and I thought it would be appropriate to work at the museum, partly because I was there that day, and also I live in the neighborhood.
I was actually one of the first people to be hired for the opening of the museum. I have worked in this memorial for about 9 years and a half. I never imagined myself in this place, but I remember I just got out of college. I didn't like my job as a security guard at JFK Airport. So then one day I decided to turn a new leaf, and then it popped up. And yeah, it was the one job that kind of spoke to me out of all the other job offerings that I had. And it's the one place where I actually feel like I belong. I was always kind of searching for the place, and then I found the place, or it found me.
I like working outside at the museum because there's more opportunity to engage with visitors, but you also are subject to the weather, so it's a challenge.
I still remember my interview over here because the whole area around here was caged up. There was fences really up. You had to go through Washington Street to be able to come into the plaza. You still needed a ticket, but it was free. And there was snow all over the place. And I remember the manager who did the interview with me, he looked at me, he was like, you realize that this job is going to be mostly outside. I looked at him, I'm like, after you work at Terminal 8 underneath an airplane, nothing is going to be too cold for me. Every single day is different. Every single day comes with new challenges, which is the one thing that I love the most.
I like engaging with the visitors from all over the world, and I try to make them aware of certain aspects of the museum so that they really get the most out of their visit. Like there's movies in the museum, and a lot of people at Byte aren't aware of the movies that are playing in the museum, so things like that I try to enhance their visit. I've spoken to people who came up to me after they exited the museum, and they were very moved by what they saw, and they said it was very powerful, and they said it was difficult, to go through it all, but they were glad that they did it.
I was always here for the visitors. And now as a supervisor, I'm always here for the associate. I understand the importance of this place, the significance behind this place, but I am basically the middle point between the place and the emotional journey the visitors and even my associate go through when they're in this place, that I'm that catalyst.
Whenever I look at my watch, it seems like in the morning it's always 9/11. It always seems to be a coincidence. The museum and memorial, I think it symbolizes a rebirth, because from talking to people, they feel it's a very peaceful and a very, very powerful tribute to everybody who was killed that day. And this design is called Reflecting Absence. So it's a good way to reflect on what happened, and also a rebirth of the whole area.
As a visitor service supervisor, I get the luxury of putting a white rose on the panels on the birthdays of the victims of 9/11. And every single time I put a white rose, I can't help but think how lucky I am that I still have my mom, because if that truck did not malfunction, she would have been there as well.
I knew some people that I had worked with who were killed in the event. So I felt that definitely, is always in the back of my mind, that I knew people who lost their lives that day. A neighbor of mine, as well as co-workers from previous jobs.
There was this one day that I will never forget. They were actually putting up the flag for a little child from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And all he wanted was to have that flag posted up there. And I just remember seeing the child with like tears and pride. And then they would put the flag down, they would do the honoring fold for it and pass it to the kid. And it kind of reminded me, the main reason why we're here.